Hello, folks. Welcome to the Life Hacks Podcast, where everyone is a student of life. Sometimes we get life completely right, and sometimes we get it completely wrong. I am your host, Steve Smith. On today's episode, it is my distinct honor and privilege to have this very special guest on the show. He is a seasoned combat veteran with multiple tours overseas. He is a well-established audio engineer that has worked with some of the biggest names in hard rock and country. That's right, hard rock and country. He is one heck of a barbecue pit master. He is an avid outdoorsman and a dedicated fitness junkie. And he treats and respects his dogs better than most people treat other humans. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your undivided attention and a warm welcome to my Life Hacks Podcast, my good buddy, Jon Tate. Welcome to the show, my man.
Dude, thank you. Wow, that was quite the intro. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow up on that.
I rehearsed that a couple times.
Yeah, it sounded great. So
cool, man. So what have you been into today, buddy?
Man, just doing dude stuff, around the house. I guess it's Labor Day, isn't it? I don't know. Like days for me now just kind of, they just kind of melt away together. It doesn't really matter. When you're retired, like every day's a Friday, right?
Oh, I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, today's Labor Day, September the 7th, 2020. Oh, man.
We're almost done with this
crazy
circus.
This year has been, I don't even know what to say. This has been the craziest year in my lifetime, and I think anybody alive can say that.
Yeah.
Anybody alive in the last 10 to 15 years can definitely realize this year has been a disaster.
Yeah. I was sitting there thinking, I guess we got a flu season that's going to be coming up, and I was going to take to the social media to kind of get a rundown on what I'm supposed to do. I need to know when we're going to start going for the toilet paper again. I need to know these things,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on the toilet paper subject. Holy cow. Some people, I don't even know what to say. I mean, here we are, you're worrying about toilet paper. I mean,
like that was the thing. That was the thing that was everybody was worried about. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The human race, as great as the human race is, I mean, we have some moments that just catch you off guard, and you have to wonder, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on behind some people's brain? It's amazing.
Right. Well, the thing that we got to realize is humans aren't always rational beings. Even myself, even though I try to be as rational as I can at all times, that's not always the case. And then you magnify that like by 7 billion or however many creatures we have on this planet. It could get weird because, like even myself, like I wasn't really too particularly concerned with much of anything. But, when you go to the store and you see canned goods canned goods are depleting and there is no toilet paper. And then you start wondering like, well, am I the one that's kind of messed up right now? Am I the one not seeing the situation? And then so you start freaking out a little bit or,
Right.
So we look to each other for social cues on how to act, right? What to worry about, what not to worry about. And it's just interesting.
I know. It's crazy. And I don't know. I'm still puzzled by this year. This year's got me just totally off guard. And I don't know. I'm just, I hope this year is the last year of this stuff. I hope it goes away and never comes back. That's all I got to say about 2020.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Good riddance. Yeah.
Yeah. So man, I got a few questions I want to ask just to get this show kind of rolling.
Okay, great.
These are kind of just, just little questions that I thought of when, thinking about some of your history and stuff like that. Let me say something about our history. I mean, for those of you folks that don't know, Jon and I, we have become friends in the last couple of years. Jon and I are both United States Marine Corps veterans, but we did not meet in the Marine Corps. We met later on, actually a few years ago, in an audio forum, an online audio school And, we both have some audio things in common. Jon runs his own studio out near Kansas City. I have my own studio here in West Virginia, and we're kind of like, I would say, not your home studio stuff, but, it's a step above the home studio thing. We have quite a bit of gear, quite a bit of knowledge. We've both worked on full-length albums. We've worked with some big names in the business, and that's just kind of the background of me and Jon. So I just want to start off with a few questions that, like I said, I know something about you, and we'll let the audience get a little taste of what it is that makes Jon Tate click. What do you think?
I'm thinking it sounds like a solid plan. Let's go for it.
Let me start you with this question. Since the year is 2020,
okay,
and we all know what 2020 is going to be, it's a big election coming up, right?
Right.
We're going to get this show started with the most important question of the day. Who are you voting for in November? You don't have to answer that, but that's more of a joke than anything.
Yeah. I think I'm going to write in Athena. Athena's my dog. I'm going to write her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a question to get started a show.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like any good choices all around. I mean, I know you kind of asked that like tongue in cheek, but God, man.
Yeah, definitely. That was more of a joke than anything.
Talk about peering through someone's underwear drawer. Just ask them who they're going to vote for. Yeah.
But, we have a lot of similarities in common.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked a lot via Messenger and some phone calls. And, I'm pretty much sold on one candidate at this point, and mainly just because of how I was raised and stuff like that. But, like we've talked about in your other podcast, Jon and I was on a podcast last week, and, Jon has his own channel as well. And I was as a guest on his podcast, and we got to talking about, the rights and wrongs of life and how you're raised and stuff like that. But I think with this election, I don't want to say who you're voting for or whatever, but this election is a big one. And there's a lot of things that are completely opposite of each other, which is okay in our opinion. I know Jon feels the same about things, that I do. And it's, you have to respect each other regardless of how you believe and who you follow, who you vote for. You still have to have a mutual respect as humans to get along in this world. What do you think about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's crucial. I mean, we're all on the spinning rock together. And, I was actually been reading a book called Righteous Minds, Why Good People Are Divided on Politics and Religions. And it really goes deep into moral philosophy and all sorts of weird. I mean, it goes deep, right? I mean, we're not going to get that deep. But I think some of it is, we're told, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that kind of begets a situation to where you can't really have a reasoned conversation on it. It's like, oh, don't talk about it. Don't talk. No, we need to. Regardless of on which side of the aisle one is, I don't think it's a far stretch for us to look. Like, in question, like, why are we voting for the lesser of two evils? We got the United States of America, the beacon of freedom and progress and all this stuff of the world. But we're voting for the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And these are the best candidates that have risen to the top. Like, out of all the smart motherfuckers we have in America, like, this is it. We got a dude who's like obsessed with Twitter. And then I don't even know what the heck we even talk about on, like, where do you even start with Biden and Hillary Clinton light? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what the hell? Not to cut you off, and I'll wrap it up on this but I think the other problem is a lot of people really only pays attention to these presidential elections, right?
Yeah.
They're the most covered, the most heated, all this other stuff. And they think that like putting one person or two people into office that's going to change everything. Well, if you really and truly want change and you want to try to steer the country or whatever like that, like, you got to pay attention to those every 2-year elections.
Yes, sir.
Those elections that send the senators and the representatives and Congress, and all that stuff. Like, those are freaking important, but people gloss over that,
Right.
Because
you nailed that one, dude.
Because the president could say, well, like, oh, I'm going to build a wall, for example, not to throw Trump under a bus, but, you know, it's going to build a wall. Well, guess what? Congress controls the purse.
Right.
There you go. And I'm not saying it's either, I'm not making an argument for or against building the wall. I'm just saying it's like we have a system here.
Yes.
You know, that's why we have a Congress and a Senate, right?
Yes, sir.
So that way, like one diabolical person can't just come in and just like start wrecking house, you know?
Right. Oh, I agree, dude. There's way more to politics than just who you vote for every 4 years. I mean, and I'm not a big political guy, but I think as an American, that is our duty. That is what we need to do as Americans to stay engaged. I mean, you know, like you and I both served our country. I mean, and when you get out, even the average, I'm not going to say we're above average, but even the average person can have a role in the American way. No matter what side you believe in, voting is a huge role. It plays, I mean, that's one of the best things you can do to voice what it is you believe in is to vote.
For sure. And, you know, there's a couple startling statistics on that, on the voting thing. You know, the voter turnout isn't all that great.
Right.
I'm talking about in years past, probably, you know, upper 30s, maybe like mid 40% of people. And it's like, well, what about the other half of the country? And I don't think we'll ever get 100%, you know, vote.
Oh, no.
But I mean, maybe if they drum it up enough, I mean, is the other half of America just so despondent and it don't care? And probably so. Like,
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of people don't give two shits about it. And it's kind of sad because they'll be the first ones to bitch and moan on Facebook or, you know, a social media platform to say their country sucks and they don't even get out and do anything for it.
Right. And it's like you can't gripe about whatever's going on if you didn't at least partake in the democratic process and doing your part.
Right.
You know?
I'm not saying, you know, that it validates your gripe, but daggone it, man, don't be coming, you know, and sitting down with some coffee and griping about the country when you don't give no shit, you know, to go out and vote for it. I mean, you really have no opinion in my point of view.
Yeah. I agree 100%, man.
Well, we got the election out of the way.
Yeah, we got the election out of the way.
All right, let's get into some other questions. These are a little bit better to talk about. All right, man. What makes you click? What does your everyday routine consist of? What does Jon Tate do to make Jon Tate move smoothly throughout the day?
Man, that's a good one. I am a creature of habit. I guess we all are to some degree, but really, like my mornings and my evenings are very scripted. I don't want to say scripted, but I mean it's like a lockstep for me.
Yeah,
for me, it's I can't control what happens throughout the day. You know, I might get a phone call. I might need to help somebody. You know, whatever. Right? You know, I can't control what happens during the day, but I can control the bookends of my day. So what I really dig doing is basically, you know, it's wake up. First thing I do is I walk the dog, and it's almost like a, you know, I take Athena on a walk, and it's almost like 30 to 45 minutes of just like pure silence. You know, just me and my thoughts, just allowing my brain to do its thing, right?
Right.
And after that, reading is a big thing on my list. I get very grumpy if I don't get to read for 20 or 30 minutes. You know, it's a habit. I've got it in a habit.
Nice.
I think it's important to engage your mind, at least for me.
I agree.
And then try to work out as frequently or as consistently as I can. You know, if in an ideal world, whenever, you know, I'm not hurt or I don't say hurt, you know, if I'm not injured or whatever the case may be, you know, it's like I wake up and I engage the mind and I engage the body, and then my day's ready to go. You know, I'm primed for the day. So that's pretty much what makes me tick, I guess.
Nice. We have a lot of similarities, man. I'm the same way. I like a routine. Of course, I work. I'll back that up here. For those of you that don't know, Jon is medically retired from the military, so he's in a retirement state. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, about a little bit about what happened with that. But yeah, that's a little bit of background about Jon on that subject. But I'm the same way, man. I like a routine. Of course, I get up every morning and go to work on, you know, Monday through Friday type thing. But even on the weekends, I want to know, you know, what it is I got to do for the day. Not so much by the hour, but you know, my day. This is on my plate for the day. You know, I fit things in. I fit extracurricular things in when I can, whether it's audio, whether it's whatever, playing guitar. You know, Jon and I both play guitar and we're both musicians, but, you know, I love a routine and I love, you know, interaction with my body. You know, I try to work out every day, and that kind of stuff is we're middle-aged men. That kind of stuff is very valuable to living a healthy life, keeping the mind working and all those good things that make good human beings, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like you got to set rules and standards and stuff for yourself, because otherwise you quickly become slaves to either your passions or your vices, or somebody else will figure it out for you. And there's nothing freeing about that. And I mean, I definitely have been learning the ropes as I go. A lot of people look at retirement like, oh man, it's great. You get to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and all this other stuff. But there's also the split side to that too, and so like, routine and setting up like successful habits, things that are healthy for me is great. I mean, because you could easily fall down like a despondency routine of where you just wake up and start day drinking,
Oh man.
Like, you could just do that, you can, but you're not free from the consequences.
I've done that a lot in my younger years, and oh boy.
Yep. So dive a little bit more into your routine. I mean, obviously, you have a set routine because you have to go to work, but is there something you specifically set out to do that you're like, no, I've got to do this, or I don't know?
I don't really have a make or break thing that's going to turn me upside down, but I have to get fitness in. That's one of the big things I try to do is get my fitness in for the day. And that, like I said, that does so much for the heart, the soul, the mind. Everything kind of works better when you stress your body a little bit. Just, your stress level comes down, you get in shape for one, you become healthier. But yeah, that's the big one for me. But, the family thing is the number one priority in my life. I've got a 13-year-old daughter and a wife, and my daughter is in sports, she plays soccer, runs track, that kind of thing. But my life really is based around what the family has on the agenda for the day or the week, whether it's, sports related or church settings, stuff like that. Those are the big ones for me. Other than that, man, if I can fit in some barbecue, if I can fit in some guitar, work or some studio time, and that's just an added benefit, really. The health thing is the big one for me right now. Of course, a few years ago, I wasn't too big into the health kick, and, it just, things like that change, I guess, in time. But yeah, right now, the health thing is a big one for me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we both know, like, it's important to stay active and all this other stuff. Just like we know, like, hey, it's not okay to gorge 12 donuts and a liter of cola, for breakfast. But we'll still do it from time to time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just as I get older, like I see so many people. I see a lot of older people that are. Let's just put it this way: I see some people that I respect as persons and stuff like that. But I see like their body and their physical shape, and it's like all the malignants and stuff. I was like, look, I need to try to set myself up for success. We're both a little worse for wear from, our tenure in service, right? Yeah. Like knees, ankles, back, all that good stuff. Like that's going to happen,
Oh, yeah.
But if I could do something, help me not lug around an extra 60 pounds, that would be great,
For sure, man, for sure. At the end of the day, it's what gets you, it's what drives you to wake up the next morning. I mean, have purpose, to have destinations, and to learn from your mistakes and learn from the positive things. And that's kind of what this podcast is about. I mean, Life Hacks, that's the name of the podcast. It's about, learning from everybody around you, things in life. I mean, everybody has got a good example of something, and everybody has bad examples of something. And I think we can all be great teachers, and we can all be great students of life. And we need everybody to make a better life for everybody. And it can't be, like, hey, I got this figured out, man. Just follow me. No.
Right.
I suck at life every day, man. Everybody sucks at life, man.
Right.
And we have to lean on everybody.
For sure. And man, there's a lot that I can unpack from that. And I think it was Jordan Peterson that said that, I'm going to paraphrase it. It's like, we don't have enough time on this planet to figure everything out, right? Like we have a very small amount of time when you look at like, the entire universe, right? And all this other stuff, right? I mean, 70, 80 years is not that long. So like, we need to learn from each other, whether it,
right.
Like I learned directly from you. People are alive or dead. That's one reason I really dig books, is because a lot of people put their entire life experiences in a 200 or 300 page book. Well, I can read that in a couple of days. A couple sit down sessions.
Yes.
And boom, like I'm not saying all of a sudden now like I've acquired all the life skills from Ralph Waldo Emerson or Jordan Peterson or nothing like that, but it's definitely helped me. It's like, okay, that's great. The learning thing is a huge thing, man.
Yes.
Being open to learn from the mistakes, because that's the biggest thing. We're all going to make mistakes,
Right.
and it's only a tragedy or failure, what I would call. It's only a failure or a tragedy when you don't learn from it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you come away from something, it's just like, no, I was the victim. Everybody was out to get me, and that was just wrong. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Probably not the healthiest way to look at it.
Right. There's definitely victims of things, and there's definitely perpetrators of things. That's just the way humans are. Humans suck, when you think about it. But for the most part, if you're if you approach a situation with an open mind, and a caring heart, man, you can learn from it. You can teach from it. There's always that teaching leadership role to life too. Everybody needs to be learning and leading whatever the situation is, because nobody has that moment in time figured out. Yeah, you might have an experience from your past that can help you through that moment in time, but that moment in time is now, it's real. And all your experiences up to that point, if you don't have an open mind and a willing heart to lead or set the example, I think you're failing society. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Man, I got another question here for you. Let's get these questions rolling.
Okay.
What are you most scared of and or your biggest fear in your life?
What I am most scared of, biggest fear? I would have to say regret. Regret is a big fear of mine. That feeling of regret is not a good feeling. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So
Me neither.
I don't know how I don't know when I'm going to check out of this planet. But I'm trying to do my damnedest to limit the amount of regret I'm going to have when it's all said and done. That feeling of regret is definitely a top 5 pain and the visceral feeling. Of like I'm trying to stay clear of. We're always going to have some little bit of regret. We're going to be like, oh man, I wish I would have went here, or I wish I would have done this, and I would just have to say regret, because I certainly do have some regrets in my life. Obviously we all do, but I'm just
for sure.
That's my one thing. It's just like, whether it be like how I treat people, or not, or anything, really in between. And I guess that what really kind of set that off is, when Crixus passed away, my service dog.
Mm-hmm.
He passed away last year. That really hit me. I was like, man, I wasted a lot of time. Like, I don't want to say doing dumb stuff. We had a great relationship. We got to do some, him and I got to do a lot of stuff. But it was like, there at that moment, whenever it was done, when he was crossed over, it was like, man, I could have done so much more, And so that just kind of got me thinking. I was like, all right, let's take an active role in trying to mitigate as much regret as possible. What about yours? What's your biggest fear?
Oh, man. Geez. My biggest fear would probably be just not being, I know this sounds really basic, but not being a great human being to the people that mean the most to me. That's the biggest fear I have. Growing up, I was, I went through a lot of shithead times, and I think everybody has, obviously, but a lot of those stupid decisions I've made or stupid things I've said, just now I look back, I'm thinking, man, I would kick my ass like, if I was another guy sitting in a room with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my biggest fear. It's just not being that leader I need to be for my family, or, just totally, being a role model for the people I care most about. I don't want to chance that.
Yeah. Like we said, as far as we know, we only get one shot at all this. So
yeah,
try to minimize or mitigate some of the shithead moments, I guess.
Yeah. Man, I've had a bunch of them. Holy cow.
I know. Lord knows. We both have. Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more. Life, just in the last 5 years, how many times has life kind of changed for you? It's a constant, every minute of the day, not a task, but it's a challenge where you have to, there's something every day that it's different. To a degree, it may not be completely different, but you're dealing with something new every second of the day.
No, you're exactly right. We kind of touched on that on my podcast. I think I said something to the fact that the one thing that is constant, the one thing that you can put money on, is that it's going to change. And, things are definitely changing faster, it seems. Of course, we're in it. We're kind of in this bubble, and it seems like everything's going. I think it's pertinent to be able to accept change and move on, right? It's the people who can't reinvent. I don't want to say reinvent themselves, but like people who can't handle those changes. That's going to be a tough go.
Yes. I just hope to be a beacon, like for somebody to be able to look at and say, man, I want to dig a little bit deeper in this guy's brain. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's a great point. And one of the things kind of interesting is like when I read, I have a little index card that kind of, it's very short, to kind of remind me of my goals and stuff like that, right? Just a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back of the card, it says, try to be the person that you would aspire to meet.
Nice.
Right. So that's like the last thing I read in the morning, and, after I get done reading. And so it's like, kind of like what you just said. You want somebody to look at you and be like, hey man, yeah, let's peer a little deeper here, or just set it just from the totality of how you live your life or whatever like that. Just try to be an awesome dude. Hashtag basic dude stuff.
There you go. Love that guy, man.
I do too.
That's awesome.
I do.
Let me fire off another question here for you.
Okay.
What do you think your biggest accomplishment thus far is in life? And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be your biggest, but what do you consider something that you say, yeah, man, that makes me feel good. I like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course, considering the fact that I've made 40 rotations around the sun, I've got many to draw from. Obviously there's, I'm proud of my military service and stuff like that. But I did say, as a recent memory, it would be me overcoming many of my battles with PTSD and TBI stuff. I could have easily become a statistic. So for me, that accomplishment is kind of attributed to my continual fighter attitude. And I would have to say that it's that, because so far that has been the biggest challenge of my life, like dealing with that, the retirement and stuff like that. I mean, dude, I would deploy 10 times over than to have to go through that again, But
wow, man.
I mean, I had to do it, had to do it.
That's motivating, dude. It gave me the cold chills.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, speaking of that, would you like to tell the audience kind of how you become medically, retired, and a little bit about your service history if you want? It's totally up to you. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I'll just kind of give a Cliff Notes version. So obviously, as Steve has mentioned, I served in the Marines from 98 to 02. There was some stuff in between. I won't really dive into that. So then basically in 2009, I went into the Army, done some stuff, wound up deploying with the 82nd Airborne as an infantry team leader and squad leader. I had some close calls on that last deployment, but nothing I could really pin down. And you'll kind of see what I'm saying here in a minute. I came back from deployment and man, things were just off. I went from being like a high functioning squad leader to being the go-to guy for many things, like I was the guy,
Right.
I was up there, high functioning. And, I was starting to have issues with sleeping, and it was like a slow trickle of I was finding myself not able to articulate myself well. I was having bouts of vertigo, like some weird stuff, I would have like waves of anxiety. And, from somebody that's kind of like an alpha-ish, I think it's kind of a polite comment when someone's just like, oh, I'm an alpha. Like, I'm just saying we're up there, right?
Right.
Like we do aggressive shit. And to go from that to almost being like a scared kitty cat was really weird. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to make of it. But I knew at least I had the gumption to ask for help,
Yeah.
So I suffered for quite a bit. But I sought out for, help. And of course, in my line of work, when you do that, that kind of ostracizes you career-wise. The Army couldn't quite pinpoint what was going on. Even though they'd done like MRI scans and all this other stuff, they really didn't know what was going on. So they just stuck a PTSD sticker on it and sent me on my way. And so I was medically retired. I wasn't planning on medically retiring. I was,
yeah.
So I got out, and basically, I'll kind of give a little bit of rundown on a little bit of that. So basically, I got out. The VA was, I was getting I was working with the VA getting treatment for PTSD and all that. Long story short, I was fortunate enough that there was a doctor from KU Med that just happened to look at my deal, my like all the test results and all this other stuff. Was looking at it, and
right.
He noticed something that the Army and the VA had glossed over. Basically, I don't remember exactly the medical term for it, but basically I found out that my skull was fractured and I was leaking cerebral fluid like in my inner ear and like around the spine and stuff like that. It's not good. It's not good.
Damn.
So that kind of explains like some of the vertigo and all this other stuff. And to me, a little bit, it was kind of, in some ways I was kind of relieved because I was like, man, all right, well, at least there's something, because there had to have been something, It's not like I was like a guy of weak moral character or that I didn't understand war. Like I fully understood war, and all this other stuff. It wasn't just, so I was like, man, something is off here, So since then I've had 2 major dome surgeries and coupled with, treatment with PTSD stuff, because that is a thing. So yeah, with that, it's been slowly put my life together, or put my life back together, if you will.
That's a hell of a story, man. Damn.
I mean, there's a lot of people that kind of have a similar deal, I think. And we've been at war for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of dudes out there. There's a lot of people out there that are either one, have faced it or are going to face it. And man, there's, my thing is like, whatever the reasons are, whatever the cause, the excuse, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like sometimes you get into a situation and you just got to accept it for what it is and you got to move out and you got to move on.
Yes, you do.
And like for many years, man, it really, like I journaled about this. I remember talking to my doctors about this. I was like, man, I just simply feel like a shell of a man who I once was. Well, the remedy to that was like I had to take full responsibility, right? It's just not, I'm not saying I was blaming anything. Of course I could blame the Army. I was like, oh, you misdiagnosed an MRI scan and you didn't see this. I was like, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Like I can sit there and point fingers all day long,
right?
But it's what am I going to do about it now, right?
Right.
Now that I got this information, what am I going to do about it? And so yeah, that's kind of that's kind of we're kind of going off on a little tangent on there, but yeah, it's kind of a little bit of my story. Nothing too crazy, but getting there, still figuring it out.
That's a hell of a story, man. I mean, combat veterans, there's a lot of them out there, folks, and there's a lot of them that have issues, and be an open ear for those people. If they ever feel like they need to talk, be an open ear for them. And I know John, would reiterate that. I mean, sometimes those badass veterans that look like they're tough as nails, they need a teddy bear, man, and they need to talk. And it's a shame that more people won't talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, dude. I certainly had my bouts of dark moments and stuff. And I don't know, I'm going to kind of go, this might rub people the wrong way here, but you're just talking about like needing to talk and these kind of things. I see a lot of my friends, or I see a lot of people do it, and it's fine that they do. They'll do that 22 push-up a day thing. That's cool. That's super cool. But the thing that really rubs me is like they'll usually write some crap.
Yeah.
It's about like, oh, reach out, and then they just basically copy like a bunch of 1-800 numbers. It's like, here, call this 1-800 Red Cross, call this 1-800 VA. Like, why don't you put your fucking number on there, right?
Absolutely,
if you really,
brother.
Like I'm serious, man. Like if I'm having a hard time, I want to talk to a friend.
Right.
And then sometimes it's not even it's not that I want you to feel sorry for me or nothing like that. I want to talk to a friend, like an ally, not some renter friend, in a call center somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, fuck that. That's why people are freaking offing themselves. Like, Jesus, dude.
You nailed that, man. I agree 100%. And I mean, nobody, don't be doing the stuff that looks cool on TV, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't care how anybody shows their support. If you are really truly showing your support, do it. Do it with a heart. Do it with a great heart. Do it with a motivational, approach. But don't be just doing it for a click on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a different level of virtue signaling, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And I understand the people that do the, and I'm not really like trying to attack people that do the 22 a day thing. I mean, that's awesome.
Oh, no. Me neither.
But I don't know. That's what kind of rubs me the wrong way is when I don't see. There are a couple of my friends that have posted like their number, because I mean, if they're my friend, then that means they're probably also friends of other people who have served, right?
Right.
And so, that's kind of rad. That's cool. And I think the biggest thing that we could do is, as far as like all that, is like those of us that are figuring it out or whatever like that, like it's just to lead by example,
Yes.
Lead by example. They have to do the work, man. Like that was the thing that, when I was battling, some of the mental side of things, the actual scrambling of that, I had to do the work. I wasn't going to go in on a session and this doctor was going to tell me something that I haven't never heard before and be like, oh man, I'm fucking great. Man, I never thought of that. Man, that ain't going to happen. No, the healing, happens on your own,
Absolutely.
Like you got to put in that work. And that's why, I don't know, like I found that solace in reading, journaling, trying to get out of my own head kind of thing, setting a routine. And I don't know, there's not one specific thing that does it. I mean, it's just like with anything, right? Like someone's asking you like, hey, Steve, how do you become a recording engineer? Like, well, you can't just say, oh, you got to master compression. No, there's a lot of things, a lot of little things that build up to it, So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's spot on, man. That's all great information. And I didn't know a whole lot of that about your complete story. We've talked about it off and on, but yeah, I totally respect that, man. That's good, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like some people like to wear it on their sleeve, which is fine, I just don't really, that's not my thing, like I'm not going to go around and tell everybody like, hey, I'm a medically retired veteran, PTSD, I've got,
right.
Like, no, like I just want to be a good dude, man. Like, and if you become a friend of mine, then yeah, you'll know.
Right. Yeah.
Eventually, but this is probably the most I've opened up about. I mean, like especially like on a forum, where other people are going to listen.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's great. And it was kind of cathartic in some ways.
Awesome. That's the whole point of the podcast, man. It's just if you feel uncomfortable about things, talk about it. I mean, I don't have the combat experience to talk about stuff like that, but I have the military experience. And, even, when I got out in 2000, I was a peacetime Marine, which is as lame as a duck, man. I never even got, any ribbons at all, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, here I am, an infantry Marine on top of that. So, we train for war every day and all that stuff and never get to go play the game. And not saying I wanted to go play the game, but you just feel a little bit like, kind of just like, well, that was 4 years of fun time, I guess. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we all want to do our part, right? And, just.
Right. There you go. That's more like it. When I joined, I was looking for the experience and I knew that war was, when that's what the military does, they fight wars. So I knew that was a high, I could possibly do that. And that was a little exciting to me. I'll be honest. I was kind of excited to maybe do that just because I'm an excitable guy. I like energy, and
right.
But when you're 18, 19, you don't realize what war is, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is yet, but just from talking to a lot of my friends that have been through it and and know a lot about it, I guess, just from talking to them and history, it's something, you would like to do it, but are thankful you didn't have to. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. That's something, I mean, I've got some friends of mine that, I've got a cop friend in specific, I'm not going to name his name, but we've talked about this before. He's like, man, I really wish I went in and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, I'm kind of glad you didn't, I think whatever you're doing is your calling, right? And
right.
And, I know he's saying that to me not to gain any kind of like fan points or nothing like that. He's just like, man, I really wish I would have, and in many ways it's like, man, I'm really glad you didn't have to, like,
right.
I mean, because I don't know, you might not have made it.
Exactly.
Maybe you would have made it. Maybe you would have been, the Chesty Puller or the, Dan Daly of Afghanistan. I mean, I don't know. Like,
right. Well, I think the mentality of it is, like in my case, I just wanted to participate, and I wanted that experience with it. Not saying I wanted to go charge for the Medal of Honor, but I think with the way I was raised, I just wanted to be a part of it, and it never did happen. Which I'm thankful to this day. It happened for a reason. Like I said in your podcast, with my beliefs and stuff, I don't have any control of what was going to happen anyway. So.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I wasn't put on this earth to fight wars. So, but going back to my initial point about getting out, when I was getting out, man, my life was a shit show, dude. And my wife will tell you, oh my gosh, I don't know what it was. And, the service life is totally chaotic. It's just crazy. In the infantry, we were always just at a fast pace all the time, pretty much. I mean, we had some downtime, obviously, but when I got out, it took me years to just to come back down to a civilian lifestyle mode, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I definitely understand that. I mean, it's when you do something like that almost like takes every bit of your soul. It's kind of hard. You can't just like stop and turn on a dime and like, all right, I'm gonna hang up my BDUs. That's it. It's like peace. It doesn't happen, and it takes some time. I can imagine, regardless of. I mean, I definitely think the military in general could definitely help with transitioning way better, man. Because that's where so many people screw up. I mean, even for myself. I mean, but even then, like I think I kind of had to go through that suck, that kind of
yes
to figure it out. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Because, man, some of those best lessons in life are the ones where you just tore it up and stunk it up. You know what I mean? It's like, man, that was such a freaking shit show.
Yep.
But I learned from it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Take all the times you've went through life where it's been peachy and, rosy. Man, I don't give two crap about those lessons, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And nobody really remembers those,
Right.
Like, but you do remember the time like, hey, man, like I was, yeah, that wasn't good, And it's like, man, I'm glad
Right.
I'm glad I got that figured out, or glad that's behind me. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And then of course the takeaway though is to learn from it. Like I said, we were talking earlier about failure. You definitely got to learn from it and move on. If you look at whatever that is, say like you're transitioning and you didn't learn anything from it, then that's like, oh man, like now like I mean I'm sure now like I would be able to handle a life transition quite a bit better now, having gone through what I've went through so far, right?
10-4.
So like if I decide to move or decide to switch careers or something like that, I would have a little bit more wisdom now. It's like, okay, like, all right.
I just hope and pray that when I get older and I get to live an older life, that, wisdom, knowledge, all that stuff just continues to pile on. And I don't want to ever say that I hope I don't make mistakes in life, because I value those mistakes. Those mistakes are just critical to becoming a great dude. And we all try not to make mistakes, and, but when I do make them, I try to just soak in the lesson that it taught me.
For sure. I can't remember who. It's probably some weird philosopher, but like inside every mistake, inside every obstacle or challenge you face, you almost kind of want to look at it like a lump of coal, right? Or a shit sandwich, I guess. But like in that, there's a nugget, right? There's whatever your fancy is. It could be a golden nugget, a diamond, whatever. But like in those mistakes and those failures and those hardships, there's something in there to be taken away, and I think it's up to us to be able to find it. You don't. And sometimes you have to look a little bit harder to find it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I can sit there and look at my whole situation and be like, that was stupid, or whatever like that. Or I can be like, no, let's look at this. Like, what did I learn? Like learned a lot about myself, and like tons of stuff, man. Like, yeah.
Oh, totally. Here's another question for you. I mean, this kind of leads into another idea I had for you. I mean, where do you see yourself in 20 years with lessons and I mean, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Man, Where I see myself, I know I'm going to be further west than I am right now.
Really?
I think I want to head west, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wanting to do...
You're going to California, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. right after I had my boating accident. So I can lose all my guns. Nah. Man, you know, I thought about that question a lot. And I was like, and I thought back 20 years ago. It's like, would my 20-year-old self be able to even remotely come close to what I, you know, like where am I actually at? But as far as like where do I see myself? I definitely want to see myself further west, possibly. I don't know, man. I'm trying to find my. There's still something in me, and I don't know what it is yet. You know, I don't know if it's to start up a business or.
Oh, I'm so with you.
I don't know, or to help people. I mean, I've run around the ideas of like, you know, firearms and tactics instructor, or
nice.
Just I don't know, man. You know, I've got some options. You know, because I sit there and see. I mean, there's a lot of tactical dudes on the internet, right? Teaching people how to shoot and stuff. And there's some of them that definitely have their clout, right?
Right.
You know, people kind of earn their stuff. And then there's some of them, it's like, dude, you just like play some Call of Duty and now this is what you're teaching people? And then I sit there and I don't know. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out, but definitely west. What about yourself? What are you seeing in 20 years?
Man, in 20 years, oh man, I hope. Oh, geez. You know, I like it in the area I live in. I don't foresee me moving away, but I just want to continue to be, and not saying I'm a good dude, but I want to continue to be a better guy and a better father, a better, you know, husband, a better Christian. You know, I don't know what that looks like yet in 20 years, but I just want to keep getting better at being, you know, a better version of me. And I don't know what it looks like yet. But I do know this. If I would go back now and have a talk with my 20 years ago me, oh my gosh, I would kick my ass straight up. Dude, that guy, I'm not that guy anymore, completely not that guy anymore. And it sucks I had to be that guy, you know? I mean, I wasn't a terrible dude, but I just, man, I'm not where I am today. And that guy pisses me off, really.
Oh, really?
To be honest.
Yeah. Man. Well, I mean, that guy, right? You know, had to get it out of his system. So I guess, in some regards.
And, you know, I'm lucky because, you know, I had, oh my gosh, my wife, God bless her. We've been dating since we were 14 years old. I don't know have I ever told you that?
Yeah, you did. I thought that was pretty remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had a few little spells here or there that didn't go so good, but man, I don't know why she continued to stay with me or put up with me, but she did. And I'm thankful for it because, you know, I was just a freaking asshole back then. And I hate that. And, you know, like I was talking earlier in my podcast, I want to be, you know, like a good person to the people that mean the most to me. And it's a lot of because of that stuff. And I don't like it that I had to put the most pain and crap to the people that mean the most to me, you know, and that just makes me mad that I had to do that to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel you there.
It's crazy.
You know, I was thinking about that question as well, because about, you know, or as we were talking, because I kind of foresaw where this was going. I think the first thing I would tell 20-year-ago me would be, one, that Epstein didn't kill himself. Invest in Amazon. And no, I'm just kidding.
You're right. I agree with you.
No, obviously, even the 20-year ago me, like I wasn't where I was, you know, where I would want to be, or not like that. When I was thinking about that, as you were talking, I was thinking I would tell myself to call and visit my loved ones and friends a bit more, you know, because they're not always going to be there, and just kind of give a little wink, you know, like a little Back to the Future wink, like, hey,
Yeah.
This world's cold and it's going to smack you down. And don't allow others to mold your character. Let the obstacles and the hardships do that for you.
That's awesome.
And Epstein didn't kill himself.
There's no way he did, man. Come on.
I know, man. No, I just think it's funny. Some of us are trying to keep that alive,
Yeah, definitely. So what do you think the next chapter is for Jon Tate? I mean, from today on, what's the next chapter look like?
The next chapter, man, continually getting better. I know that's kind of a polite answer. Let me back that up. I think the next chapter for me is going to be like more outdoorsy stuff. I want to lead by example somehow, and I don't have it all figured out by any stretch of the imagination. But we've had a similar talk on the Facebook messengers. I look at what really drives me, and like what I'm good at. I'm not saying I was the best leader, but I was a pretty good one. It's like, all right, let's do that. And it's kind of the reason like I started my own podcast. It was like, I was getting tired of people not having the conversations and not having reasoned conversations or debate about stuff. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to, instead of sitting here griping about it, I'm just going to do it and show you and learn along the way,
Yes, sir.
So we'll probably do some more podcasts and stuff, more outdoorsy stuff. I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's definitely on the horizon. I know like next year, I'm definitely going to be making a really big trip. And we were talking before the podcast about me been messing with my vehicle. Part of the reason I'm doing that is I'm going to do a massive trip. I'm talking like, I'm going to go through like Black Hills into Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, and mess around in like Idaho. Like mostly on like Forest Service trails and stuff like that.
Nice.
Basically, I just want to take like 2 months off and just go like camp with my dog, drive around. And
that sounds awesome, dude.
And probably going to have some GoPro videos of that. And I don't know, we're just going to see what happens with that,
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds great, dude.
What about you? I mean, obviously, you definitely have some chapters that are still to unfold for you. I mean,
yeah.
What anything you're aiming for or what?
Man, I've got all kinds of ideas. It comes down to just continue getting better, whether it's audio, whether it's being a father or dad, a father or husband, just continue to get better. I want to get my fitness to a higher level. That'd be a personal thing there. I want to do a little bit more traveling, I think. I like down south, down in Florida. I like southern Florida a lot, so we go there a good bit. I know it's hot as crap in the summer, but I just like it. And I do want to make another trip out west. I lived in California for a while, when I was in the service. But I just want to continue to be better, learn from people, be a great leader, just be better, man. That's my goal right now.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I think that's the quest, That's the quest.
It is.
Just continue to be better.
It is. Well, John, I tell you what, man, I think we're about like an hour into this show.
Oh, wow, man.
And I just want to say thanks, man. I thank you so much for being my inaugural guest. And it's been great chatting about all this stuff, especially your military stuff, man. And that stuff means a lot to me. And I know it does you too. But yeah, man, I really appreciate it.
Dude, it was my pleasure and an honor. And like I said, in many ways, this is quite a bit more cathartic than I thought it would be. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, man, I'm glad you had me on as a guest. And we'll definitely stay in touch.
Yes, sir. For those of you who want to link up with John, I'm going to put some links down on my profile, and check out his podcast, check out his studio, his Instagram, all that good stuff. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in to the Life Hacks podcast. This is my inaugural show. A big shout out to my buddy John for coming on, talking about all the things we talked about. But if you're interested in this show, you like it, just subscribe, tell your friends. This show is going to be about life. I mean, everything you can think about will probably get discussed at some point. But yeah, stay tuned. Until next time, John, I'll talk at you later, brother.
All right. See you, bud.